Do you have a grail item? Obviously, a lot of people have really sort of expansive collections, but as I go through eBay and the vintage stores and stuff that I visit, what I'm often looking for is something that sparks a memory in my head of my childhood. And that's kind of the sort of the connection I suppose I'm looking for in terms of some of the items that I'm trying to get. Sometimes I go full bore and I try and kind of recollect a whole series or whatever that I used to have when I was little. But every now and again, I just get this sort of feeling like I want to try and do a bit of archaeology and dig out something that used to mean something to me. And this item that I found, to my amazement, on eBay, given that it's really hard to describe, I didn't know what the proper name was one of those items. This, for me, I don't think this has any particular value. I got it unboxed on eBay for a pittance, but this takes me smack bang back to my parents' first house. And I remember being in my bedroom shooting little plastic discs out of this launcher. This is a Space Launcher 2001. I've seen one in Italy for quite a lot of money in a box. This was about £4, but it's got some nice detailing to it. It says launch here. So that basically, watch out, that's where the little discs are going to come from. I remember them going for a long way. That's one of the little memories I have connected with it. It's got a little target, which I think is cool. So if you want to actually aim at something, you can do. And it's just got, even now, it's still got its stickers on it. A little bit of sort of colour to it as well. Trigger is still, I think if you had a disc, it would work. I don't think there are repro discs for this. I think it's too obscure, but I'm sure you could probably get somebody to make a disc that would fit it, because you can see the grips there will still go back quite happily. So you could find a way to do it, I'm sure. But for me, you see, this was like, this was a phaser. It was any sort of blaster I wanted it to be, because I used my imagination when I was that sort of age. It's a shame the target doesn't stand up better than that, but it's just quite a doody little thing. And because it's got, the discs weren't a fair distance, I seem to remember. And so it was it had good sort of playability in that sense. I guess it's like a sort of an old form of a Nerf gun in a way, in the sense that you're not just sort of firing caps off that you can't reuse. If you could collect the discs, you could keep on playing with it and no problem. But I just quite like the level of detailing on it as well, because it's like you would think that it would just be a sort of throwaway kind of toy, but it's got screws in it, so it was obviously built to last. It actually looks as if the sort of the grip would actually slide and lock into place, because there were sort of grooves there. But I don't want to try and dislodge it given its age, but I think it would fold down and sort of come apart, probably to fit better into a box, I would imagine. So you could probably unscrew it as well, looking at it, and just sort of maintain it. I'm just looking at the bottom of it, actually. This might be one of those times where you can see better than I can because I'm in front of the camera, but I can't actually make out without my glasses on what that says. So you now will know better than I do, perhaps, who actually made this. Because if my camera does its bit, then I don't even know which way around that's written, but it's that might give you an idea as to who manufactured it. I'd say I can't. It looks to me like it was made in Hong Kong, if I were to guess, because I can see two separate words. I'm just guessing from the length of the words, so I have no idea, but maybe that. Reason for this video, other than to show you this, I guess, was to find out if you've ever managed to find something that you distinctly remember from your childhood and would like to share with the group in the comments section. Because I just thought, the odds of me finding something like this again. I do have one other thing that I'm looking for, and I believe it's called a Toytronic Phase 4 rifle. It's not as lethal as it sounds. It's basically not dissimilar to this, but it had an electronic sound effect dial on it. So that when you pull the trigger, you could make a variety of different noises out of it. And it was white like this with a bit of sort of black highlighting. I'd seen one on Etsy, but it was sold. I have yet to see one, to my surprise, on eBay. And it's almost a nightly ritual now where I just do a little search just to see if I can turn one up. I've even seen it on a Froggy Flips video in America, but a silver version of it. So I know it was sold internationally to some extent in different variants, and yet I've still never come across it. Now, it may be that it was known as something different. So if you've got any ideas, and I know that's a really obscure description of it, but if you have any ideas, if you know what I'm talking about at all, and you've ever seen one, then obviously do let me know, because I'd be quite interested in seeing if we can get hold of a working one for old time's sake. But that was definitely one of, not dissimilar to this, that was one of my go-to, let's pretend I'm in Star Wars kind of, shooty toys, basically. And that was something that stuck with me, because I ended up playing Quasar in my teenage years quite a lot. And if you're not unfamiliar, that involves running around a sort of darkened maze-like arena, shooting people with a laser gun. So entirely predictable. But this is the stuff I grew up with. All the heroes that I was sort of into, like sort of Buck Rogers, Star Trek, they all had ray guns, they all had laser guns, Flash Gordon laser guns, all that good stuff. So, just something I grew up with. I was laughing today because I had to explain to some of my younger workmates what Knight Rider was and who Michael Knight was. I mean, that was just, talk about feeling old. I mean, that does age me quite badly nowadays, it appears. So, just a little thing I wanted to share with you that I'd managed to get very early, very, very early childhood memory, but just, something that stuck with me that brings back pleasant memories. So, let me know what you remember. Cheers.